Welcome to Beyond the Things Written, and today our topic, can Jehovah's Witnesses drop the 1914 doctrine? Not without great difficulty. We'll discuss why. Next on Beyond the Things Written. Welcome back to Beyond the Things Written. Today, as we said, our topic is, can Jehovah's Witnesses drop the 1914 doctrine? Now, I once thought that they were going to try and do this. I've been out now for almost 20 years. So as the years were getting closer to the 100th anniversary, I thought they were just going to try and just not say things. As it was written in one of Ray France's book, one of the governing body members once talked about a strategy of just not talking about things, and so when they drop it, it won't be such a big deal. But Ray France was very, obviously being part of those meetings, understood the significance far more than I realized. And it came really pertinent with the overlapping generations. That was really stretching things so far that it maybe take a second look at why. And of course, going over Ray France's books many times, he brought these points out, and I've refreshed my memory on them and be able to saw those points more clearly of how important it really is. You see, Jehovah's Witnesses have unique beliefs, but their beliefs are not really unique when it comes to, say, the Trinity, immortality of soul, or hellfire. I used to think those were so important beliefs without realizing that many Christian groups don't believe those things. They believe like Jehovah's Witnesses. They don't believe in the Trinity. They don't believe. Christadelphians don't believe in any of those things. So what really was unique about Jehovah's Witnesses? Now, the governing body is aware of this. Many Jehovah's Witnesses aren't. It wasn't that big a deal for me, because to me, I was holding to those. I thought those were the pillars, right? Without realizing that other Christian groups don't believe those things either. So I remember, of course, times trying to convince myself about this doctrine and telling myself my faith isn't based upon 1914. And I remember one particular time discussing it with my pioneer partner in service and going home and have to, self-indoctrinate my personal study. Coming back the next day and reaffirming my 1914 was true. But little did I know, really, the authority of Jehovah's Witnesses is based on the 1919 doctrine. All those pioneering years you spent, those people spent 50 years pioneering, 10 years, 50, all those full-time servants, all those times spent at Bethel, all those conventions you went to, all those education you didn't get, all those jobs you turned down, all the kids you didn't have. It's based on the authority that God appointed these men as the faithful slave in 1914, 1919. They kind of changed those dates sometimes. But during that time period, they were appointed and are the one true religion on earth that God is using to direct. And God has directed them to tell us to pioneer as the only thing you should be doing, making more Jehovah's Witnesses, that you should be at all the meetings, that you should be at all the conventions, that you should read all these books, that you should study them, personal study, that you shouldn't have children, right? For many years, that was a big thing. That kind of lessened a little bit. Because these people are speaking for God, and they're telling you that this is what God requires of you, because the end is so close. And if you want to survive, you have to listen to their authority and what they say. And that is why they will have a difficult time dropping this doctrine. That is why we saw the absurd overlapping generation which tried to tie the significance of 1914 to extend it to our time. Now, I've been thinking about this for a little while after they kept the doctrine. In fact, 2014, they doubled down on 1914. I thought they might be like not saying anything. They doubled down. And of course, a little bump there in the pioneers. And from some of you ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, I hear there was a bit of a buzz going on at 2014. The new Bible, 100 years. Wow, this is going right into the new system. But now we're over that. COVID's over too. That didn't pan out as they were hoping. What can they do? Are they going to be able to keep the overlapping generation? Are they going to add a triple generation? I mean, these guys are getting old too. I mean, we know they added some younger folks there. But, I mean, time is going to keep going. We always say it beyond the things written, time's on our side. Time's going to keep going, and time is their worst enemy, along with truth. As we have a saying here, illusions always meet up with reality because we have another date. Now, Jehovah's Witnesses are notorious for their date setting. Now, 2034 will mark 120 years from 1914. Now, why is that significant? Because in the Bible, you could interpret the days of Noah to be 120 years. Now, we're a little too far away from that for them to start pushing that date. And they probably have learned enough not to be dogmatic. Remember in 75, they said it was an appropriate time for God to act. Fred Franz was on a circuit assembly saying, we're not saying, but we're close. And of course, that was now 40 years ago. Almost 50 years ago now. I am going to make a prediction. If, as the days get closer, like say 2028, 29, that they're going to start pushing that date. Not in an obvious way. Not like they did with 1914 and 1925 and 1918. Even though it was just for a short time. But it'll be like 1975, maybe, They'll learn from that one too, but they'll get the excitement going. Notice how the last days of Noah's day was 120 years. Could that be a parallel for our day? That type of thing, right? And then, of course, the witness is, we're the pioneer this year. And, of course, the Irish are lower now. So that's an extra special blessing from the Lord. Oh, don't say that. From Jehovah. And so that's my prediction. I'm saying 2034 because that will be 120 years. But they can't do it just yet. They'll have to wait till just right because what will happen if they say it now or they start pushing it now or hinting about it now? People won't do anything. They won't be able to get them out in making more Jehovah's Witnesses or to the meetings. It won't be close enough. But it won't scare them, right? It's fear. Fear is a great motivator. Fear is their prime motivator. That the end is going to come, and only by observing what these people say are they going to be able to survive their version of Armageddon. So what do you think? What are some of the options? I haven't been, like I said, a witness for a long time, and I was shocked that they pushed 1914, and there was a bit of a buzz there. What's it been like? Are they still talking about it? Now, they talk about governing body a lot. Faithful slave. I cannot believe every time I tune in a little bit, the governing body has approved this. The governing body has approved that. It's just, like, wow, even since I've been out, they weren't like that before. So if you're newly out and woke and the spell is broken, let us know. As we always say here, do not be afraid of them or what they say. Time is on our side. And in this case, time is really on our side. And it's going to make it really interesting. Keep well. And we'll see you next time on Beyond the Things Written.